Welcome to Learn Tagalog Lesson 1-2. My name is Alan, and we're going to continue on from what we learned in Lesson 1-1. We will reinforce some of those things that we learned and get into some new material also. We're going to pretty much use the same format that we used in Lesson 1-1. Okay? Now, in Lesson 1-1, we covered this particular dialogue. It was a rather lengthy lesson, but we did cover the entire dialogue, and I will be reinforcing some of these as we go along. You might remember ikinagagala kong makilala kayo. You might want to remember Magandang gabi, things like that. We will be practicing them as we go along and including new material also. Okay? Now, what I'd like you to do is just listen for a moment through this dialogue one more time just to refresh your memory. And I do want to mention, if you have not listened to 1-1, the lesson 1-1, I strongly suggest you do that. The way these lessons are built is they will be building on each other. They will be reinforcing material from previous lessons. Okay, I do ask questions and expect that you can respond to those questions. That's how you learn. You need to articulate, you need to say these things. Okay, so hopefully you're going along with me, and when I ask you to say say good afternoon, you'll say good afternoon in Tagalog. That's how you learn, that's how you practice. Okay, you need to be put on the spot. If you're actually going to say it to somebody, you need to know how to say it, not just read it on the screen or listen to it. Okay, so let's take a listen to this particular dialogue as a way of review.
Magandang gabi po.
Magandang gabi po naman, Ginang Cruz. Kumusta po kayo?
Mabuti po naman, at kayo?
Mabuti po naman. Ginang Cruz, ito po si Ann. May bahay ko.
Ikinagagala kong makilala kayo, Ginang Turner.
Nagagalak din po akong makilala kayo, Ginang Cruz.
Okay, so hopefully that brings back some memories to you. Let's move on to the lesson here. Do you remember how to say good evening?
Magandang gabi.
Right, magandang gabi. Gabi is evening. Magandang is beautiful. We're saying basically beautiful evening. And remember, the ng at the end of maganda is the linker that links maganda with gabi. Okay? Here is the word for morning. Listen and repeat. Umaga. Umaga. Try to say good morning. It's just like saying magandang gabi, but instead of saying gabi, you're going to say umaga. Try it. And listen.
Magandang umaga.
Try it again. And listen again.
Magandang umaga.
Magandang umaga. Good morning or beautiful morning. What is the word for morning? Umaga. Umaga. Here's how to say good afternoon. Listen and repeat.
Magandang hapon.
Listen again.
Magandang hapon.
What is the word for afternoon? Hapon. Hapon. Good. Okay. Ask, how are you, sir or ma'am? Remember that?
Kumusta po kayo?
And say it again.
Kumusta po kayo?
Okay. Mrs. Cruz replies, quite fine. And you?
Mabuti po naman, at kayo?
And say it again.
Mabuti po naman, at kayo?
Good. Say good morning. We're going to use po for respect. Try it.
Magandang umaga po.
And say it again.
Magandang umaga po.
Very good. Now, listen to the word for noontime. In English, we don't normally say good noontime, but in in Tagalog we do have a word for noontime, and that is tanghali. Tanghali. Say good noontime. Remember to use po at the end.
Magandang tanghali po.
Okay, say it again.
Magandang tanghali po.
Okay, very good. So around noontime, that would be the day, the greeting for the day. Magandang tanghali po. All right. Now, say, it's my pleasure to meet you. Do you remember that one? Remember the ikinagagalak kong? Okay, that one. Try it. And listen to it.
Ikinagagalak kong makilala kayo.
Now do you remember? Okay, go ahead and say it again. And listen to it again.
Ikinagagalak kong makilala kayo.
Very good. Now, say good evening with po.
Magandang gabi po.
And one more time.
Magandang gabi po.
What is the word for afternoon? Hapon. Hapon. Please say good afternoon and use po at the end.
Magandang hapon po.
And one more time.
Magandang hapon po.
Very good. Good afternoon to you too. Listen to the word for day. Now I'm going to pronounce this and hopefully I get it right. Sometimes it's a little tough for me. Araw. Araw. Okay? Now let's listen to our native speaker say good day.
Magandang araw.
And again.
Magandang araw.
Okay? Say good evening.
Magandang gabi po.
And again. Magandang gabi po. Okay. Now say good day. Remember araw. Put magandang before that. Try it.
Magandang araw po.
Good. Try it again.
Magandang araw po.
Magandang araw po. The a is pronounced a little bit louder. Okay? Araw. Araw. Magandang araw po. The word naman can also mean two. Listen and repeat.
Magandang umaga po naman.
Listen again.
Magandang umaga po naman.
Magandang umaga po naman. So we're saying good morning too. Say good noontime too. Just substitute the word for noontime. Do you remember that?
Magandang tanghali po naman.
Try it again.
Magandang tanghali po naman.
Very good. Good noontime. Does it make you hungry? Lunchtime. Now say, I am pleased to meet you too, Mrs. Cruz. Now you might recall this is the one that sounds like ikinagagalak, but it starts without the iki at the beginning. It's nagagalak. Remember? Nagagalak ako. See if you remember it. And listen.
Nagagalak din po akong makilala kayo, Ginang Cruz.
Now try it. And listen again.
Nagagalak din po akong makilala kayo, Ginang Cruz.
Very good. Listen to the word for Mr.
Ginoo.
Okay? Ginoo. Now it looks like gnu for an English speaker, but we don't say the oo as oo in Tagalog. They're pronounced separately. Oo. Just like the word for yes is uh-oh. It's actually two O's, and we pronounce it uh-oh. Same thing here. Ginoo. Ginoo. Okay? Not ginu. Ginoo. Listen again.
Ginoo.
To say Mr. Cruz, we need a linker after Ginoo. We need the nung linker that we've used in the past, just like we would use with Maganda. Okay? Listen to this. Let's say Mr. Cruz. Ginoong Cruz. Ginoong Cruz. Say good noontime.
Magandang tanghali po.
Okay. Now say good noontime, Mr. Cruz. Remember, Ginoong Cruz. Try it.
Magandang tanghali po, Ginoong Cruz.
And try it again. And listen.
Magandang tanghali po, Ginoong Cruz.
Try to say good noontime too. Remember we use naman after po?
Magandang tanghali po naman.
And again.
Magandang tanghali po naman.
Good. Magandang tanghali po naman. Good noontime too. Notice the difference between Mr. and Mrs. Now Mrs. has ginang. It already has an ng at the end. So if we say Mrs. Cruz, ginang Cruz, we don't need to put an ng linker. However, ginoo for Mr. does not have an ng at the end, and if we're going to combine it with Cruz, then we're going to need the ng linker, ginoong Cruz. Okay? We can say Mr. and Mrs. Now when we say it this way, we don't need a linker. We would just say it, each word together. Remember the word at? At is the word and. Listen and repeat.
Ginoo at ginang.
Okay? Try it again. Now listen.
Ginoo at ginang.
Ginoo at ginang. Mr. and Mrs. Say Mr. and Mrs. Cruz. And listen.
Ginoo at ginang Cruz.
Try it again. And listen.
Ginoo at ginang Cruz.
Good. Ginoo at ginang Cruz. Let's review the time of day greetings that we've learned here. Say good morning.
Magandang umaga.
Now say good noontime.
Magandang tanghali.
And say good afternoon.
Magandang hapon.
Okay? Now, I'm not having you say po at the end of here, because if you were actually saying this to a friend, you would just say magandang umaga or magandang tanghali. You don't need to use po with a friend like that, okay? This is just a more formal greeting. You see somebody on the street, you're walking past, and you say magandang umaga po or magandang tanghali po, okay? Say good evening.
Magandang gabi.
Okay. Now, let's not forget good day. Listen and repeat.
Magandang araw.
Try it again.
Magandang araw.
Say, good morning, Mr. Garcia. How are you? Now remember, it's Mr. Okay, listen.
Magandang umaga po, Ginang Garcia. Kumusta po kayo?
Okay, now try it again. Say it. And listen.
Magandang umaga po, Ginang Garcia. Kumusta po kayo?
How would he reply? Quite fine. We're going to use po in this case. Let's imagine that we see him on the street, and he replies with po also. How would you say quite fine?
Mabuti po naman.
And again.
Mabuti po naman.
Okay. Now, let's say good morning.
Magandang umaga.
Now say good noontime.
Magandang tanghali.
And say good afternoon.
Magandang hapon.
Good evening.
Magandang gabi.
And the one for good day.
Magandang araw.
All right, very good. This concludes Lesson 1-2. Bye now.